Trading cricket, racing and football, you're listening to the Sports Trader Podcast, brought to you by thesportstrader.com.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Webinar Central webinar for Tuesday. We're going to have a look at some football analysis today for people that like to do their own analysis and not just follow other people's tips blindly. Where can you go to get some football analysis, particularly for games that are on tonight, like the Champions League? So I'll start with what I use for normal football, which is the Football Form Labs. Now, Football Form Labs covers like 40 leagues around the world. If you go and have a look, you can see all these countries here, Australia, when they're playing. So they add and take away countries as they play. So there'll be a lot more countries on this list, and they're adding more all the time. So there's obviously a lot more than 40 there. So they've obviously increased a lot of their coverage. You know, there's countries that aren't playing now that will be added, like I say, Australia and New Zealand, stuff like that. But you've got 40 different leagues. Well, it could be 60, could be 80. You've got a load of different leagues around the world there. But it only covers league football. Now, it's brilliant for that. So we could look at the Leeds game last night. We could look at, you know, you had West Brom and Burnley, Arsenal and Leicester's coming up. The big game this weekend, Man United and Chelsea. You can go and get some analysis and find simple stuff like head-to-head, and you can go and see instantly the last 10 head-to-heads between them have been 4-4-2. And you can look at all the past 10 games. You can go and do this season matches, that's last season, you know, all sorts of stuff. But that's fine for the league, and that's easy to look at. But what do you do if you want to go and look at some Champions League stuff? You can't really compare it. It's like if we go and look at, say, this season, if we just go, or say last 10 games for both of these sides, we can see Chelsea's last 10 games there. They've only played, Man United, they've only played 2 at home this season, and they got beaten 6-1 by Tottenham, and they got beaten 3-1 by Man United. And then have a look at Chelsea's away games: 3-3 against West Brom, 3-1 against Brighton. Then last season, 5-3 they lost to Liverpool, 3-0 they lost to Sheffield United, 3-2 to Palace, 2-3 West Ham, 2-1, 2-2. Nearly every game has 3 or 4 goals in it. But how relevant is that to the team that they're playing tonight? It's very, very hard to line up. Another good site is looking at the Soccer Stats, which is a free website, and you've got all the different leagues there that you can go through. You can go and look at matches. You know, they've got some stats here for the game where you can sort of line them up, but there's, you know, it's for the Champions League this season, there's nothing there. So there's nothing that we can really go off. They'll show you the last results, which is relatively helpful. Like, you know, there's your 3 goals there, or 4 goals for Chelsea. They lost 2-0 to Liverpool, 3-3 West Brom, 4-0 they beat Palace, 3-3. Plenty of goals there. And then you look at Sevilla, 1-3, but then you got a 1-0, a 1-1, and a 1-0. So it's just really difficult to try and line up 2 teams from different countries, and that's why a lot of people sort of avoid it for betting purposes. It's a bit of a guess. If we go and have a look at, there's a couple of websites that'll do previews, so you can go and have a bit of a read. So this one's just called thestatzone.com, but it's very sparse. There's not much there. So if you go and click on Chelsea and Sevilla, they won't have a lot. Let's have a look. They've got what times it kick off, where is it at, Where can I get tickets? What channel's it on? All stuff we don't really need to know. Team news. They'll give you a predicted lineup, and there's some good news there. They can see who's unavailable. So Marcus Alonso's out, Gilmore's out, questionable. Ziyech and Mendy are injured. And then there you've got your Sevilla team and a bit of a prediction. So let's have a look. It promises to be a highly attractive affair. Well, according to Scott, it's going to be 0-0, 100%. Is that the game you're talking about, Scott? I'll have a look at that one in a minute, Pete, that one you've got. Thank you. We'll go for that for sure. They've started the season in good form, but they did slip up 1-0 to Granada at the weekend, as they may have had half an eye on this match. Yeah, that's what teams do. You've got a big Champions League match coming up, which is crucial to the club's finances, especially in the current climate. Then you may go and sacrifice a match or a load of players to keep fresh for this game. They're going to be desperate to impress here against high-caliber opponents. They'll fancy their chances against Chelsea. Chelsea continue to look vulnerable defensively. They were hugely disappointing in their 3-3 draw to Southampton at the weekend. So that may see Frank Lampard make a tactical switch, go with 3 central midfielders, 4-4-3 rather than 4-2-3-1, just to try and shore things up at the back a bit. Sevilla will still create chances. They're better drilled than Chelsea, can come away with at least a point. So there's not a whole lot there, but it gives you something to think about. And then you've got the BBC website where you can always go and have a look for some information there. If you just go BBC Sport and then click on football, you normally get a list of the games over here. So I'll go and have a look at some of these this afternoon. We've got Chelsea and Sevilla and PSG, Man United. I think just on instinct, I think PSG should absolutely hammer Man United the way they've been playing, but we'll see how we go. So if we go and click on Chelsea Sevilla, we'll get a bit more information here. Chelsea's defensive issues are so bad they need to score several goals each game to stand a chance of winning, and that's coming from their captain. They've conceded 9 times in 5 Premier League games. They were 2-0 up and 3-2 up against Southampton before drawing 3-3. Well, Frank can empathise with Jose Mourinho, can't we? Like, poor old Jose got 3-0 lead after 17 minutes and blew it. But here, look, last month, Chelsea came from 3-0 down to draw against West Brom. I don't know what's going on in the Premier League, where days gone by, a 3-0 lead, it was game over. You just can't come back from that. And yet it's happened 3 or 4 times this season. I think Spurs just took their foot off the gas in the second half and just should have kept going. They could have had 2 more goals. Harry Kane curled a beauty in and it just hit the outside of the post. That would have been 4-1 or 4-2 and put the end to it. And then Gareth Bale got that great run down the right flank, cut inside, a little shimmy, beautiful footwork, got inside the box clear, just had the keeper to beat, could pick either side and missed the target. It's like he had too much time. Anyway, it's not to be. And then, of course, West Ham went up the other end and you know what happened. So let's have a look what they're saying here. Through a season, you're not going to be winning 3 or 4-0 every week. Yeah, they play their first Champions League group match tonight. They've spent $220 million in the transfer window. Manager Frank Lampard, I'm aware of the stats, and the other stat is we've conceded second fewest shots. Well, that's interesting, how they've conceded so many goals. Maybe they need a new goalkeeper then, because I just don't rate that Kepa. He's just dire. He's got to go. And I think some of their defence, the days of John Terry and having Lampard in midfield are well gone. So Chelsea have got no new injury concerns for the match. Mendy's a doubt after missing a game with Southampton. So they have got a new goalkeeper, but he's injured. Alonso's suspended because he got the red against Bayern Munich last year, and Sevilla are going to be without their forward Idrissi and a centre-back as well. So looking at the head-to-head, you can't line them up because this is the first time they've played each other. So then as a trader, it becomes a situation where, do I just not bet on this game do I not just have, I just don't have enough information. You can't line these two sides up. You don't know how they'll play each other. We know a lot about Chelsea. We know a lot about Sevilla, but how will Sevilla play in England? And how will Chelsea play in Europe? Because it's often different. And sometimes I think you've just got to take a position where you maybe don't have a bet. You'd obviously look at goals tonight. You know, you think, well, looking at Chelsea, they're leaking like a sieve at the back. Sevilla should be able to take advantage of it, and Chelsea should be able to score at home. But then surely the market's going to have that factored in. They're going to be well factored in that, you know, Chelsea's leaking. There's going to be loads of goals. I don't know. I reckon over 2.5 will be like 1.5. I honestly haven't looked at it. We'll go and have a look. Let's go and see where we are. Let's go and look at the 2.5 here. It's 1.8. So that's higher than I expected. But as they're saying in the write-ups here, if Sevilla are well drilled in defence, it might be difficult to score, and they might be happy just to get a draw away from home and just take the point. Let's have a look at some facts, all right? Chelsea have won one of their past 9 Champions League matches against Spanish opponents. They've drawn 5 and lost 3. The only win was 2-1 at Atletico Madrid in September 2007. They've lost their past 2 Champions League matches. They've never lost 3 consecutively in major European competition. They've lost their first match in a Champions League campaign twice in 16 seasons. Frank will be only the second Englishman to manage in 2 Champions League campaigns after Sir Bobby Robson, and the last Englishman to manage an English side in consecutive European campaigns with Joe Fagan. So there you go. So having a look at some stats. Sports data analyst Grace Note, never heard of him, says Chelsea have an 83% chance of progressing to the knockout stages. So Simon Gleave, head of sports analysis at Grace Note, says the chance of Chelsea reaching the knockout was improved by the draw from 74% to 83%, according to the Euro Club Index. Never heard of that either. This was due to a combination of avoiding higher-ranked teams than Sevilla from the top seeds and the better pot 3 and 4 team being drawn in other groups. So there's not a whole lot of information. I mean, you've got some facts and stuff, but it doesn't really tell us what's going to happen. We'll go and have a look at PSG, Man United, see what they say about that game. So Harry Maguire's out. He's not travelled. Cavani has not travelled either. So Cavani's had 1 training session since the 14-day isolation period ended, so he's not fit yet. Eric Bailey and Lingard are missing as well. They're a bit depleted, but we have more than enough players. We hope the players won't be away for too long. Last Group H's Turkey's champions, Istanbul and Leipzig. Okay, so there's nothing there. So PSG are going to be without Verratti and Paredes, Icardi. Blimey, they're missing Icardi. And so maybe Man United do have a chance when you look at who's missing for PSG. Pereira is available for the first time after self-isolating following contact with Cristiano Ronaldo. He's got the virus. Ex-United player Angel Di Maria is back from suspension, and Herrera is also likely to be playing. It's another tough game, and I can't think how to bet in this game or what to bet. Your initial instincts are, well, United will get smashed by PSG, but then you look at the players that are out and what's been happening. Manchester United have changed a lot since the two teams last met in 2019, where United scored an injury time penalty to record a stunning 3-1 win in Paris and progress on away goals. So PSG will want to set that right. But look, they got new players, more options, more experience. You got Pogba there. They say he's one of the best midfielders in the world. I've been waiting 3 years to see him do anything. Have you guys seen him do anything in 3 years for United? I've not seen a thing. He just walks around like a grumpy school kid and doesn't do anything. Bruno Fernandes, he's played a lot better than Pogba. He's delivering a lot. Yeah, they're a bit, Spurs are trying to do the same thing at the moment. Nick the ball off the opposition in your own box and then transition quickly, get it straight to midfield to Harry Kane, turn, bang it up the road to Son, and away they go. That's the way Leicester have played with Jamie Vardy, and it's the way United are trying to play as well with when they had Martial up the front there, Lingard, and, of course, you've got Marcus Rashford up there as well. So a lot of teams are playing like that now. If you let defences get set these days, it's very hard to break them down. So I think the key is to break and hit on transition. And that's, if you watch the first 20 minutes of Tottenham West Ham, that's how they got 3 goals up. They just moved the ball lightning quick. But then for some reason, they get 3-0 up and they stop doing it. Now, I don't know if West Ham really changed anything, but the way that they got those 3 goals, bang, 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 that stopped sort of happening. But anyway, that's a different game. So it looks like Man United have dropped. Pre-draw, they were 74% chance, and now they're 51%. So, I would have picked PSG to win this game, but having seen how many players are out, I'm not so sure. Again, I haven't looked at the market, so let's go and have a look at the market and see what's going on here. PSG. So they're 160. I'm not sure that's a good price when you've got so many players out. Let's have a look at the goals. 150. Wow, they're expecting plenty of goals in this one. We'll go and see what this other site says. They don't say very much, do they? But we'll go and have a look anyway. PSG, Man United. So let's go and have a look at the lineup. Well, I guess when you've got Di Maria, Neymar, Mbappe, you've got Herrera, ex-United player. As I said, Di Maria's there. It's still pretty good, isn't it? Still a pretty good side. And when you look at the Man United side, De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Tanzabi, Lindelof, Tellers, Matic, Van Beek. It's Martial, Rashford's up front. I don't know. It's not been the easiest of starts for either of these giants due to one reason or another. Arguably, both preferred to avoid this game on opening match day. They met 18 months ago in the round of 16, and PSG suffered stunning elimination that will haunt them. They come into this game the more convincing from United, who won 4-1 at the weekend. That score, if you look at United versus Newcastle and they won 4-1, that really flooded them. It really does, because it was 1-1 deep into the game and then it just sort of got away. They continue to look fragile defensively, and PSG will cause all kinds of problems. Both teams are likely to show the other a large degree of respect, which may see it being more cautious than many would expect. Yeah, I can imagine where PSG are not going to want to hit on the break by Rashford and Martial, so they might play a bit deeper, and United just won't want to concede, so they'll be playing a bit deeper as well. So it might be a bit of a quiet first half, but I suspect, as in most games of football, once you get a goal, then you're likely to see the whole tempo of the match change and things sort of progress from there. So the other games we've got coming up in the Premier League is tomorrow night as well. We've got Man City playing Porto, and we've got Liverpool away to Ajax on Wednesday. And then the following week, you've got the reverse fixtures of these ones. So City will be away to Marseille, Liverpool will be at home to Michelin, and Chelsea will be away to Krasnodar, and where's the other one? I can't see. The Man United are at home to Leipzig, who really battered Tottenham last year, so they won't worry about coming back to the UK at all. They were brilliant last year, so that will be a good game. So, yeah, I just wondered, we've been given another website to go and have a look at from one of our members here, so let's go and have a look at that. It's Infogale. It's not a website I'm familiar with, but infogale.net, football predictions and betting tips. Here we go. So that looks pretty cool. Today's matches looks like they give little tips as well for where the value is, although it's only 1 star value, so maybe not. Let's have a look what they're tipping here. Chelsea, Sevilla. They're picking Sevilla or draw. Yeah, I could see that being good. A lay of Chelsea. What price were Chelsea again? I didn't actually look at the prices. We're just looking at the goals, weren't we? So Chelsea are even money. I can definitely see that being a lay the way they're playing. So I might look at that later. You could back Sevilla. I wonder what the draw no bet is on Sevilla then. If we go and have a look at draw no bet, it's 305, 310. You get 310 for it rather than just the 420. And if it's a draw, you'd get your money back. Let's have a bit more of a look around here. It looks like there's an introduction here to Infogale, so it goes and shows you all the stuff that's there. So maybe you can go and have a look around that yourself. There's an Infogale app using cutting edge techniques. So go and have a look at what they've got. So maybe they do stats or something. I don't rate this expected goals at all. Expected goals is complete nonsense. So don't even bother looking at that. I've seen a lot of proper professional football traders that just laugh when you mention expected goals analysis. It's just irrelevant. Some of you might love it. So if you love it, by all means, use it. But I don't sort of rate it. So, yeah, it's, but looking here, it's like a single match result is just one of a range of possible outcomes that depends not only on the quality and quantity of chances sides create and allows, but also how lucky they were in the actual outcomes of the day. So it is, it's getting a bit more technical what they're looking at. But look here, football analysis introduction. So there's a good couple of articles over there by the looks of things, availability of data and stuff. So this looks a good site. Thanks for passing this one on, Peter. That's really cool. We'll go and have a good look at that. Probability and betting. So there's some good articles here. I always like writing articles on probability and stuff like that. So we'll go and check that one out as well. You can go and read this, see what you think of it. You can make your own decision up. Expected goals. What is expected goals, right? Expected goals quantifies the quality of any given scoring opportunity, giving each chance a probability of being scored. The higher the probability, the better the chance. So X goals provides a descriptive look back at individual games or over a longer period of time. Now, if you look at the Spurs game on the weekend, Harry Kane, he's curled that ball and just hit the post. Well, on any other given day, that goes in. Gareth Bale, 9 times out of 10, scores that goal. And it's just that it was his first game back in about a year and his first real chance. So, you can't – but is he going to get a chance like that in the next Spurs game? Probably not. The chance of that exact thing happening again. So just adding up how many shots or expected goals Tottenham scored against West Ham means nothing if they're going to play Manchester City next game. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's just a bit, it's like, here, look, this is what I'm trying to say. How likely is it that teams are going to be able to repeat their current form? Is the team overperforming or underperforming? X goals can help answer those tricky questions. And then it'll tell you how it's all calculated. If you've heard of expected goals or XG as they call it, they'll tell you how it's calculated. So like penalty kicks are typically converted around 78% of the time. So prior to a kick, the penalty would have an expected goals figure of 0.78. So it's, I just don't rate it. A lot of people I know don't really rate it. The process of chance creation, together with a quantified estimation of each individual chance created and faced by a side, is often a better indicator of future performance than the often luck-driven singular outcome of those chances. So I think what they're saying there is you look at a team and you see how many chances they're creating each week, how many good chances they're creating, and how many they're converting. I think that's what it's all about. But then the versatility of XG can be further extended to individual players through simulation and stuff like that. So I'm just not sold on it yet, but hey, I'll have a read and see. Look, you got slope graphs and heat maps here of all sorts of stuff. It looks a pretty cool site. So you'd have to, expected current and forecast positions. That's going back a few years now. They're just showing you what it was. You'd think that they'd sort of be showing something a bit more current on the website. I haven't seen that, Scott. You've just mentioned watch the foul on Bale just as he goes to hit it. I'll tell you what, I would have bet a lot of money that he was just clear through and he'd broken free of both those defenders and just had a clean shot on goal. I didn't even notice that there was anybody near him. Oh, bloke just pushes him from the side. No attempt. Well, I've never heard any mention of that. I'm going to go and watch it, but I've never heard a mention. Why a VAR not looking at that or anything? Do they not? Is that not what their job is? But I'm a bit concerned that the site's using stuff that's 4 or 5 years old. You'd think they could update it a bit. But anyway, that's what that is. What else have we got? Fairness ratings. How the Infogol team of the week, and there's a guide there to using it. So go and have a look at that and we'll see what it throws up. And all you can do is, I'll do it. I'll start using this site now and I'll see what their predictions are throwing up and I'll compare them to my predictions. And then if these guys are doing better than me, then I'll start using them. But at the moment, I just like doing my own analysis and my own decisions, and then I just compare them to other things. Like these guys are very basic. They often put up a prediction. So both teams are likely to show the other large degree, more cautious, but ultimately the hosts have to be favoured to get an opening win here. So they're tipping PSG. Let's go and see what these guys were tipping, if they're tipping anything. I don't think they really did. Oh, yeah, they normally do a prediction. Excuse me. They haven't really done a prediction here on that one. So, no, there's no predictions there. But, yeah, you can go and look at, I don't know if these guys do a prediction or not on these ones. But, we can go and have a look at last season and see what Chelsea did last year in the Champions League. So matches over 0.5 goals, 8. So there was a goal in every one of them. 6 of them went over 1.5. 6 of them went over 2.5. So if we then go and have a look at Sevilla, if they were in it last year, go and have a look. It doesn't look like they were in it last season. We can't really go back and see
black and Rob just looked in
how they did. So no.
Georgia walk.
Here you go. Once again, it's hard to line up, isn't it? But it looks like last year Chelsea's games had a lot of goals. You got 75% chance of over 2.5, and I think they're worse defensively this year than they are last year. So 1.8. It looks. I'll turn that off. Roger's got his mic on. I don't understand why you guys can hear that and I can't. I can normally hear when people have got their mics on, but I'm not hearing anything. So I don't know. Sorry about that. Sorted anyway. That was, I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a look around analysing football and how difficult it can be with not just Champions League matches, but obviously Europa League matches and even to some degree League Cup matches. If you get a team in the Championship playing a League Two side, how do you line that up? The teams never play each other. And so sometimes it's just be a bit careful with your betting. I wouldn't go betting the same amount of money that you would in, your Liverpool versus Arsenal games when you know both the teams, you're watching them week after week, you know the players, you know the coaches, you know the tactics, you know a lot more about it. What I think we're better off doing is from a betting perspective, just take tonight's game with Chelsea and Sevilla, is just watch the first 5 minutes. That will tell you all you need to know. Are these guys going to be ultra cautious and they're just keeping the ball at the back, not taking any risks whatsoever? They don't want to concede. Or is it an end-to-end game where they're playing proper tempo and they're trying to catch each other on the break and it's a fast-flowing game? Then you're more likely to get goals. Once you've actually seen a little bit of the game unfold, you're in a much better position to take a position betting than you have done before. So Peter's saying they give you value compared to Betfair, do they? So we'll go and have a look back at this home side. So they've got some previews here as well. So they've got Wednesday's matches there, championship tips for Tuesday's matches. They've got the Champions League preview there. So I wonder where's the Tuesday Champions League tips. They've got Wednesdays there, Real Madrid. So I mean, it looks a good site, mate. I think there's Ajax and Liverpool, but we'll see if we can find today's tips. Obviously, they're here. So if we just go and click on Chelsea and Sevilla, there we go. We found it. So we can go and see what it's saying here. An intriguing group opener at Stamford Bridge. Group favourites Chelsea host Europa League champions Sevilla. Blues have made a relatively poor start, struggling defensively once again despite a number of additions. Sevilla have been much sturdier since they got their season underway and a very well organised team. So we like their chances of avoiding defeat here, with there being plenty of value in backing Sevilla or draw. So that's what they're looking. So they then rate unders. The unders is 53% and Betfair's 56%. So that's fairly close. And the over, they rate no. So that's the under, is 47. So what they're saying is it's a little bit short. Okay, so to be value on over, you would have to look at this being less than 53%. So let's say it said 50%. All right, so that's 50%. So you know that they're saying it's even money, and then you go and have a look and you see it's 56%. Now, for those that don't know, a very simple way of working it out, I'll just give you the basic way, is just go and take the Betfair price and divide it by 100. So if you just go 100 divided by 1.78, okay, 56.17%. So you can go and see what the price is for yourself. So there it is, 56.17. So they just put 56, which is fine. But they rate it a 53% chance. So if you want to know what price they make it, if you want to do that, just do the reverse. Okay, just do 100 divided by 53, and that gives you 1.88. So now you know that this website rates yes on the overs 1.88 and it's 1.7. So if you value that site's info, if you're going to use them as a guide and think I'm going to go with these guys, they know what they're talking about, and they rate it at 1.88, sorry, and you go and see it's 1.79, you would then have to consider that bad value and you can't back the overs. All right, so that's how the value works. So we'll go and have a look at some other things. Let's go and have a look at both teams to score. Okay, now they rate that 57-59, so it's very close. You could probably get away with betting on that. So if you go and look at both teams to score, yes is 168-169. Okay, so there's your nearly 60% chance, should be 1.6. So that's how you sort of find your value if you're using a site. And then you've got a Chelsea versus Sevilla summary. They've won 2 of their last 6. They've lost 2. Sevilla have won 4 of their last 6. They've lost 1, and 1 ended in a draw. head-to-head. They've not played each other. The Infogol model predicts a 38% chance for Chelsea. So, I mean, if you're going off the model, if you want to go off modelling, then that's cool. Let's go and do some tests here, and we'll see how that pans out. So 38%. So 100 divided by 38. So they make Chelsea 2.63. All right? And then if you go to the match odds, they're 2. So if you trust that model, you've got great value laying Chelsea. And this is what I'm going to start comparing myself to. So what I will do is for each of the games, you go and make you might have a spreadsheet or something, and you make a note of the ratings that website gives each match. You then do your ratings, what you think the prices should be, and you put that on the spreadsheet. And then you go and compare the results. And I'll tell you what, within a month or two, you will soon know if this website is more accurate at predicting results than you are, or if you've got them beaten. And you can then adjust your trading to go with it. If I find after 2 months these guys are absolutely killing me, well, that's brilliant. I can save hours doing analysis and just go with them because they've been proven over 2 months and hundreds of games to be far better judges than me. And you'd expect they should be. They've got far more resources and they're putting far more time and effort into it. They got a big team. So I'll be stunned if they're not better than me. But often when I compare myself to these things, I go all right. So I just think, well, I just don't want to go and bet on what other people are saying. I'd rather just go and look at, it myself because I've got the time. I understand a lot of people that join my daily email service. They do so because they don't have the time. They just want me to do the work, send them an email and say, guys, I'm betting on this, and then have a read of the work I've done and why I think it's going to happen and what I think will happen. And away you go. So if you've been following me on the IPL, I think we're doing all right. We're getting most of the games right there. So you don't need to waste time going and looking at the IPL. You just get the email and go, right, this is who we're betting on, and watch the money roll in, hopefully. So, yeah, I like this site, Pete. This is good. I'm going to have a look at this and compare my results to them. It seems pretty good. So we're going to have a look at one of the other games tonight then, the other local games. So go and look at PSG Man United and we'll see if there's any value. So the predicted chance here is they're pretty much just same as Betfair by the looks, which is unusual. Over 2.5, 63, 66. So they're pretty similar there. Let's go and look at both teams to score. 58, 62. I guess what you're looking for if you're trusting this site is anomalies in the value. So you're looking for something to be, completely different. So 96% chance of a goal, 83, 85, over 2.5. I'm already skeptical a little bit of this site. It's so easy for websites to just go and look at Betfair because everyone knows how efficient the Betfair market is. And I could knock up a website like this today and just go, Betfair's 66. I'll just put 64, 67. I'll just go roundabout. And it makes you look like you've done the work. And it's, it's far too coincidental that they're bang on, nearly everything, what they're saying here, 40, 44. There's not a whole lot of difference between them. But I'll give them, it might be genuine because if the market is efficient and their model's efficient, then you would expect things to be fairly closely lined up. But you see, this is predicted chance, identical here, 96, 96, identical there. I find that I've never been identical to Betfair. I can think of 2,000 games that I've analysed, and maybe once I've come up with the same price as Betfair. It's often very close. I might come up with 165 and it's, 162 or 170, but to just be bang on all three prices there is a bit, you know what I'm saying anyway, but you got to give them a go, right? So I'll give them a go. So Peter's got the tip to lay PSG. I find that very brave with Neymar and Mbappe against this Man United defence that just leaked 6 goals to Tottenham. So if you compare Harry Kane and Son to Neymar and Mbappe, who do you want? Yeah, mate, I'm not sure, Pete, but I think someone's left a few a gate open in the top paddock there, and a few roos have got out, mate. If you're laying PSG, but I'm not. See, this is the thing, and I'm not having a go at you at all here, Peter. I'm really not. But you've really brought up a really key point, right? And as I say, I'm not having a shot at you, but it's the point that I'm having a shot at. Peter's just said, look at last year. And I just think personally that is completely irrelevant. What does a match a year ago mean? So I'm asking you a question. I'm not making a statement. I'm asking all of you a question. In your opinion, what does a game a year ago mean? So even if it was 12 months to the day, PSG play Man United. I don't know if they did or not, but I guess that's what he's saying. Look at last year. What's it mean? And you've just answered the question with, I know, nothing, but you're saying, look at it. So if you know it means nothing, why am I looking at it? What he's referring to, of course, is Man United beating PSG 3-1 with that late penalty. But was that a freakish result? Did PSG play really poorly that day? Did Man United play exceptionally well for that 90 minutes, which they haven't done this season? I'm just asking the question, do you as traders or punters think that you can take that game last year and give it any relevance or reference to tonight? Is it likely to be 3-1 to Man United tonight because it was last year? We might have a webinar tomorrow and I go, PSG won 4-0. So let's go and look at the relevance to last year's game. I just think I've been asked this recently a lot, and I think it's a really relevant question Peter's asked, because if you look at Liverpool and Everton, okay, people have a go at me for looking at the head-to-head. They go, you're looking at the head-to-head. It's a load of rubbish. And, what's relevant about matches that happened 10 years ago? And if you look at the head-to-head for Everton and Liverpool, you'll find that in the last 10 meetings, Everton haven't won any of them. Now, the last 4 games between them at Goodison Park have been a draw. I think 0-0, 0-0. I can't sort of recall. I don't know if it'll still be here or not. No, it's gone. But if we have a look at the Liverpool games, when they play Everton, and there are head-to-head. I mean, you can go Liverpool v Everton head-to-head, and it will show you this 11v11 website, which is great. You can see them all here. So if we scroll right down to the bottom here and we get the recent games, so you've got 2-2 Premier League, 0-0 Premier League. Forget the FA Cup and then forget Liverpool's home games, 0-0. So you've got 2-2, 0-0, 0-0. Before that, 0-0. And then before that was 0-1. Before that was 1-1. Before that was 0-0. So you have a look. They, like the last 10 games at home, I think they've drawn like 9 of them. And people say, well, how relevant's that? You're now looking back here at 2014. And I think, yeah, I understand that the managers are different. You know, Klopp wasn't there. Ancelotti wasn't there. Most of the Liverpool team weren't there. Most of the Everton team weren't there. But there's more to that in these types of matches. Arsenal versus Spurs, Chelsea versus Arsenal, Chelsea versus Spurs. Like, if you go and have a look at if we go and have a look at like, wow, Chelsea v Tottenham head to head, and you look at the same site, and I don't know if we can just get home games. I'm not sure. We just want the Premier League anyway. But if you have a look at Chelsea at home, I'm not sure if I can just show. I just want to show home games. No, I don't know. But anyway, look, it was 26 years. 26 times Tottenham went to Chelsea and couldn't beat them. And you say, well, how is that relevant? Well, it is relevant to me because it gets in their head. Like, you know, if you knew that Tottenham hadn't won at Stamford Bridge for 26 years and they were playing there tomorrow, how could you justify backing Tottenham? They obviously know the players, or geez, lads, we haven't won here for 26 years. And you got the crowd on your case and all that sort of stuff. Now, I understand everything's changed this year. I get that. It's all different now. And you're seeing the difference in results. You're seeing, 3-3 with the Chelsea game, 3-3 with Tottenham, 7-2, Villa beat Liverpool. I'm telling you now, if there's crowds at that game, it's not the same result. It's all different. Tottenham winning 6-1 at Manchester United. Like, if there's a crowd there getting on their case, that doesn't happen. But what I'm saying is that Arsenal, Everton and Liverpool, for example, there is such a determination there to not lose the game. The mindset changes. Most games of football, you would think the mindset is win the game, and if we can't, draw the game. And then if we can't do that, we're going to lose. That's the mindset. Win, if not, draw, if not, lose. But with these sorts of games, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal particularly, so I'll just give you the two. Well, even Man United, Liverpool. So there's 3. Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool, right? It is do not lose first. That's it. Number 1, don't lose the game. Then you look for a win. And then third, of course, is still if we lose, we lose. But the mindset changes. So when you look at Everton and think, well, the priority here is do not lose. And that's why I advised the members a lay of Liverpool, because Everton are more focused on not losing the game than winning the game. They won't care about winning the game as much as they care about we cannot lose to these people. And they didn't. They went 1-0 behind, and I thought, they're going to lose this one. But yet they fought back, and they came back. And that's right, Peter. You say, having the stats in mind helps to make a decision. And if you just look at recent history, there's no way you would lay Liverpool against Everton. But when you look at the stats and you just see how often Liverpool fail to win at Goodison Park, then there's your value. Even if they win, you've still got a value bet. They should be, much higher than even money, and yet they were odds on. I think they were 170 or something, 169. I think we got. It was quite, a good price. So you got to take the value on. That's what betting is all about. Betting's not about winning or losing or finding the winner of a game or it's finding the value. If you just find the value bet and make that value bet all year, you're going to have a very big year. So that's what you're thinking about PSG. So you're thinking that the value here, let's go and look at the prices of it. And we'll go and have a look at the price. 158. They are short. I'll give you that. I can make a case for taking them on, but they've won 4 of their last 5, I think. You don't think they're too short. So you don't think they're too short. So you want to back, oh, you do. Yeah. But again, United's got very poor defence. Maguire's been rested for some reason. They don't want to take him over to France. It can only weaken their defence if he's out. So I just wouldn't want Neymar and Mbappe. I think they'll just cause a riot. But we'll see. Again, it's a case of if you watch the first 5 minutes, you'll have your answer. And I think if you see it's an onslaught on the United goal, then you go and have a look. If it's all quiet and cagey, then the 147, about over 2.5, is a bit short. So, yeah, just have a think about it, guys, when you're betting. But go and check out that website. It looks good. So I'm going to go and save that website now. Thanks very much. That's in there. And we'll keep an eye on that. The predictions, might work okay. So I'll go and write down some predictions, what they're making for today, and I'll go and compare them to myself. But we got some tips here as well. What have we got? Tips. Let's have a look. Champions League. See what they've got here. Chelsea. The prediction is a Chelsea win. The analyst verdict is Sevilla or draw. So the prediction's gone against the analyst and the value Sevilla to win 11-4. PSG, the prediction is a PSG win, and the analyst verdict is both teams to score, and it's 6-4 on Betfair. So that's interesting. What else have we got? You got some championship games there. So look, it looks pretty good. So I think what you can do, guys, is go and make a note of some of these predictions and just see how they're coming out. I mean, it'd only take you 2 weeks. You'd end up with a few hundred games, and you could see their strike rate. If their strike rate's anywhere near 60%, just follow them without swaying. I mean, if they're getting anywhere close to 60% results, which I don't think they will, I just don't think they'll get anywhere near it. But let's find out. Ollie, I'll just turn your mic off there. But yeah, you've got it. Yeah. So it's hit and miss with Infogol goal, is it? Yeah. Well, that's, it's hit and miss with them all. It just depends if these guys are just providing stats. If that's all they're doing, if it's just a stats site, then the stats will help you to a certain degree. But then there's a lot of other factors you've got to have in as well. Who's in, who's out, what's at stake, how do they play, sort of things like that. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there for this morning. We've got some stuff to do, so I'll be around this afternoon for some horse racing, and I'll keep an eye on any football that's on at the moment. Don't know what's happening right now. We've got a few games starting in 23 minutes over in, looks like, Thailand, Vietnam. There you go. If you've got some games, I'll keep an eye on them for you, and I'll post any trades in Web Central. And we've got a few coming up at 12 o'clock and 12:30. So you've got a host of football coming up today, so we'll keep an eye on all of them. Then the racing this afternoon starts at 12:25 at Yarmouth, and we've got 5 meetings today, and then an evening meeting coming from Kempton. So it's going to be a very busy day on the donkeys. All right, so thanks very much for coming in and joining me this morning. It's interesting when you're looking at analysing football that is not league football. It just gets quite a bit difficult to try and line up sides like, this one. They've never met, or they haven't met for a very long time, if ever, in Europe. So how do you line them up? So have a think about it. Look at some stats sites, do some analysis yourself, and compare how you go to the sites. And if you're finding this too hard to analyse yourself and the other sites are doing all right for you, then just use them. All right. So thanks very much for your company this morning, and I will catch you guys in Web Central during the day. Okay. Cheers, fellas. Bye for now.